So there's 6 educations. There's 6 different forms of education. The first education is what you learn at home from your parents. The second education is what you learn in school. The third education is what you learn in the streets. The fourth education is what you learn through religion. The fifth education is what you learn through prison if you do go to prison. And the sixth education is what you learn when you combine all of them and you seek knowledge on your own. Or even if you don't combine all of them, you just seek knowledge on your own. That's the sixth education, right? So let's start with the first education. The first education is what you learn at home, right? A lot of people is fucked up because the education that they learned at home. Because if a person is broken and wounded and don't know no better, how are they going to teach somebody else anything better, right? So this goes for all races, colors, creeds, shapes, sizes, right? A lot of people is raised in single parent homes, right? If you come from the hood or the ghetto, right? So there's really no father figure, so there's no balance, right? So you're around estrogen all the time, emotional, grumpy, bitter, angry estrogen. Especially if she's mad because the father ain't there and he don't want to claim you, or if you look like the father if you're a man, or if you act like the father if you're a female. Because you're going to always hear, oh, you just like your fucking father, right? Or whatever it may be. There's a bunch of whole other things that apply to the education at home. The woman might don't have enough time, whoever's raising the child, because she might be working hard, whether it's one job or 2 jobs, and then it's come home, cook, clean, wash clothes or whatever, make your food for tomorrow, prep your clothes for tomorrow, whatever. So, we ain't gonna just get pessimistic and focus on the negative. We gonna keep it positive also. But we do know education starts at home first, right? So sometimes a lot of people who's raising these kids, they don't have knowledge itself themselves. Whether they religious or whatever, a lot of them just don't know no better. So, the way they move might don't be on a militant type of time, right? And then we know the second education, the schools teach a lot of bullshit, a lot of brainwashing shit and stuff like that. So now you're getting a double whammy. You getting double brainwashed because your moms don't really know no better. Or at home, you ain't getting strong education, and then in school, they feeding you bullshit education. I don't give a fuck if you go to a charter school, a Catholic school, especially if you black. They ain't gonna give you no super supreme black history and let you know all the black inventors and all the black contributions to society, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. And even if you Puerto Rican or of Latino descent, they not gonna let you know that in these Catholic schools and in these charter schools. They might touch on brief little topics like, oh, Martin Luther King and this and that, yeah, all the weak ones, but never the ones that really made a move that made a difference, or those that was radical. And trying to really uplift the people, right? So anyway, the third education is what you learn in the streets. A lot of people is in the streets because they didn't have good education at home, and they didn't like school, and they either got kicked out or didn't want to participate in school because they felt like it didn't benefit them, or it was the white man's education, so they went to the streets. So the streets is loaded with a bunch of broken people, deviant people, and people who's trying to get over, whether it's hustling, surviving, whatever it may be, right? So in my regards, right? I was raised by my grandparents, so I had a strong 2-parent home. I had structure. My grandmother was strict, and she used to put me up on certain shit, and my grandfather used to put me up on certain shit. You know what I'm saying? But whatever they didn't know, I had aunts and uncles that knew different shit, because they was Muslims, and some was real conscious and seek knowledge itself or whatever. So I had, kind of like a good foundation. The roots to my tree was like grounded. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had good meals every night. Not good meals every night. I ate syrup bread. I ate ketchup bread. I ate with water. I went through them little stages. We got the welfare cheese at one time. It was a phase and shit like that. But my grandmother always, had a good job, sometimes 2 jobs. And my grandfather was a lumberjack. So, the cabinets, 90% of the, 80% of the time was always jam-packed, various treats and scrumptious things in there. You know what I'm saying? And, it was hard times too. So I ain't gonna make it look like everything was peaches and cream because I grew up in the projects. I grew up in one of the wildest hoods in the South Bronx. Right? So, my second education was in the streets, from the drug dealers and stuff like that. Fortunately, a lot of the ones that was in my hood, they had 2 parents. And I don't, bro, I'm homeless, bro. I'm homeless. I go through this every time. Niggas be running down, asking for money and all that. I'm not giving no grown man money. I give my kids money and I give the woman I'm fucking money. I'm not giving no grown man money. What the fuck? That's my pimp? I'm his bitch? The fuck out of here. Like, these niggas be bugging, man. If I help everybody in the city that's homeless, I'ma really be homeless. Because all these niggas is down. They'd rather beg than make a move. If I was homeless and I couldn't get a job and that, I'm going to hustle. At least if I get locked up, I go to jail, I can get some education, a GED, some trades. I can eat 3 square meals, rest, work out, free gym, come home super brolic and educated. Niggas be scared to go to jail because they be pussy or they be grind balls and they get beat up, or they're addicted to drugs and they codependent and they want to stay out here and fuck with that high. So anyway, fuck that nigga though. The wise survive and the dumb succumb, the strong survive and the weak retreat. You know what I'm saying? The gods don't mingle with the mortals and kings don't eat with the peasants. So charity is good, but it ain't good every fucking step, every 10 steps to different people. So anyway, past that nigga, back to what I'm saying. So good thing that the drug dealers in my neighborhood was structured. They grew up with 2-parent homes, but they was trying to get the street money. So it still was like militancy. Like if dude's parents came in the building, they would hold the door open or help upstairs with the bags. They wouldn't like make sales in front of their face, and it wasn't no rapes in my community. Niggas wasn't robbing old ladies. It was a code. It was like a G code. It was a solid G code. So I learned a lot from the gangsters too in my hood, like what to do and what not to do. Don't talk to police. Don't do this. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Whatever may it be, right? We not saying everything they did was right. We not glorifying nothing. All I'm saying is that was the second education, right? So now, that was my third education. So, the ambulance be loud for nothing, man. The ambulance be loud for nothing. So anyway, the second education I meant to say was school. The third education is the drug dealers, right? So the second education is the school. In school, the teachers didn't like me because when they was teaching all that bullshit and Christopher Columbus shit and all that, I knew all that shit was mind trickery, Jedi mind trick, foolery, jewelry shit, because my first enlightener is my Aunt Arcia. My Aunt Trina, and her righteous name was Arcia. You know what I'm saying? My aunt was under the Ansar law community. This was back in like 82, 83. My aunt rose through the ranks. She was one of the teachers in that cult, in that Islamic code or conscious cult or whatever you want to say it is. But anyway, that was my first enlightenment in regards to being conscious and righteous. My aunt Arcia. Shout out to Arcia, Rahubat. You know what I'm saying? But so the school, they was teaching bullshit. So when they see that I was super in tune and I knew nah, that's wrong. Like Columbus didn't do this or this was that. They used to be like, yo, you want to teach the class? Yeah, I want to teach the class. I would get up on the board and talk my shit. And sometimes that would get me a lot of times that would get me put in the principal office. So my grandmother was like, boy, what the fuck are you doing? My grandmother was like, boy, learn what them fucking devils got to teach you. Get your fucking diploma, and then you can do whatever the fuck you want. But whatever they teaching in their institution, don't try to challenge what they teaching in their institution. It's their institution. Fake learn that shit. get your degree or you get your diploma and all that, and keep it the fuck moving. You don't gotta prove that they wrong. Fuck them. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that was the second education, and I elaborated on the third education, which was the street shit, right? The fourth education was, through religion or whatever, right? My grandmother had me. My grandmother was Jehovah's Witness, so some of my family was Jehovah's Witness, some was Muslims. So I grew up getting both educations. Jehovah's Witness is like a religion, and people think Islam is a religion. Islam is not a religion. Islam is a spiritual military way of life. It's a spiritual military way of life. Islam is not no religion. I'm sorry, you even got stupid Muslims that be like, oh, Islam is a religion. No, it ain't. We a spiritual military. We the army of Allah. All Muslims is army of Allah. We soldiers of Allah. We slaves of Allah and we soldiers of Allah. Yeah. Know what I'm saying? Islam break down everything from how you should fight, sleep, eat, shit, talk, walk, everything. Like it's a militant protocol that you have to follow. A lot of people, some people deviate, some don't, right? So anyway, that's the fourth education. So that kind of structures you too on your belief systems or whatever, right? Now, the fifth one was prison, and then the sixth one was what you learn on your own. So throughout all of these, that made me go study and made me go seek knowledge and made me go out and strive, right? So now, the purpose of me even elaborating on all six of these educations is because a lot of people only dealt with two educations, what they learned at home and what they learned at school. That's why a lot of niggas is dumb, men and females, and a lot of people have low comprehension level. So when a person is raised with six different educations and they speak on certain shit, a person with the two educations or the one education or even the three educations might don't understand. The person with the three educations might have a hunch, because they kind of, a little more diverse. But when you got one or just two education, all you know is what mommy taught you or what you learned at home and what you learned in school, you always gonna be the dummy blind follower nigga, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. When you only have two of any of the education, then you can have the one at home and the religion, you can have the one at home and in the street, you know what I'm saying. But if you don't know no business and if you gotta know multiple things, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So anyway, this is why in society there's a lot of conflicts. This is why on social media there's a lot of conflicts. A lot of people bump heads and have disagreements. Is because the people who is super in tune could be telling the other person that's lesser in tune, like, yo, this is that and that is this. And then people don't want to listen, and then it be conflict. You know what I'm saying? So everybody, I advise y'all to seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. You know what I'm saying? I got to seek knowledge to the cradle to the grave because, it's prevalent. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give you a quick story. The snail seen the turtle on the beach. And he said, hey, Mr. Turtle, how you doing? I ain't seen you in a long time. So the turtle said, yeah, I was at my house. He said, I thought your house was up there inside the sand castle. He said, that's my other house. He said, I got a house underwater. He said, how you got a house underwater? He said, because I live underwater too. He said, how you live underwater? He said, I'm a turtle. We can live on land and we can live in the water. You a snail, you only can live on land. So salt water will kill you. So he said, how is it under there inside the water? How is it underwater? He said it's just like how it is on Earth. He said there's air, there's oxygen, there's predators, there's prey, there's food, there's sunlight. So he said, how's there oxygen? He said, because water is H2O, it's made up of oxygen. So he said, how there's sunlight? He said, because the sun rays go through the water. He said, so everything that's on land is underwater. It's just two different worlds. So the snail dude couldn't understand. Moral of the story is this. The turtle had more knowledge because he was diverse. He lived in two different places and he had access to two different places. The snail only had access to the land and to the beach. So the snail couldn't understand what the turtle was saying because the turtle had more experience. The turtle was more diverse. So when the turtle was telling him the same thing that the snail knows, the snail still couldn't understand because there's oxygen underwater, there's sunlight underwater, there's predators and prey underwater and everything just like it is on land. But the snail couldn't understand because he wasn't diverse in education. Anyway, iron, intelligence rule over negative nonsense. Warlord, wisdom and righteousness, law over reckless decisions.